ప్రపంచ ఐటీ కాంగ్రెస్ సమావేశాలు హైదరాబాద్లోని నోవోటల్ హోటల్లో అట్టహాసంగా జరుగుతున్నాయి. 2 రోజులుగా జరుగుతున్న ఈ సమావేశాలకు ఎందరో ప్రముఖులు, బిజినెస్ టైకూన్లు హాజరయ్యారు. చివరి రోజు సందర్భంగా నాస్కామ్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్కు బాలీవుడ్ సూపర్ స్టార్ దీపికా పదుకునే ముఖ్య అతిథిగా హాజరయ్యారు. మేకింగ్ మెంటల్ వెల్నెస్ బోర్డ్ రూమ్ను ప్రయారిటీ అనే అంశంపై దీపికా పదుకునే ప్రసంగించారు.
Every 100,000 people in the country. Also, health insurance in India only covers physical illness and not mental illness, right? So given this and given this paucity of resources and experts, what role can technology speak? We're speaking to a bunch of people who are technologists, who live and breathe this. How can we leverage technology to bridge this gap, perhaps?
I'm going to answer this question very honestly. I'm not an expert in the field, so I'm not entirely sure. I do know that technology can play a huge role in at least in creating the awareness for sure. But I also feel like in my own experience, I can tell that touch and feel is very important. So physical proximity, physical presence, a one-on-one sort of, which I think to some extent technology is taking us away from that. So yes, I think it can help in a lot of ways, but like I said, in my own experience, I think to have people around me, their physical presence, that really helped me on my journey.
Yeah. So given your experience, there's no replacement to having that psychiatrist and that psychologist help you, as opposed to sort of having a gadget, perhaps?
I know there are lots of, I do know that there are lots of tech-based, there are a lot of apps, and I don't know how successful these things are, to be very, very honest. I would have to do a deep dive and see how successful these, sort of apps are. But, I do think that I'm sure there are some benefits. But having said that, I think something like this, I don't think you can entirely cure with just technology. I think we will need the intervention of doctors, of professionals in the field.
And again, voices like yours, voices like the foundation can raise awareness, limited budgets in the budget this year for mental health, limited experts. I think creating awareness can create more resources, more money going to this. Let me turn to my last question, and then we'll open it up in the interest of time to the industry. The IT technology industry employs 4 million people, and if we believe what the World Health Organization says, which is 1 in 2 people will suffer depression, and I read 1 in 5, I apologize, and I read a staggering report by ASSOCHAM which said 42.5% of corporate employees suffer from depression. Let me repeat that, 42.5% of people. So effectively we're saying 1 in 2 people here perhaps is depressed, right? And so what? And that's not. I mean, I don't mean to make light of it. I mean, that's a serious and very concerning
I like
issue.
that everyone's laughing.
Yeah, and so what can we as organizations, as employers, be doing? What can we be doing in terms of facilities? What can we be doing in terms of culture in companies? What can we be doing to help people address this? Because it's a serious concern.
I mean, I'd be interested in knowing how many of your companies actually have a full-time psychiatrist or a counselor coming in, or how many of you.
Is that enough or not enough? Is that clap say that's enough?
Okay, first of all, are we even aware of the fact that this is something that is important to us? After today or before this session?
Yeah, but are we doing enough? I mean, what do you think we can be doing better?
I mean, I would want to come back next year and know that these figures have come down drastically. I think that's the only way to tell that companies and organizations are doing enough. I think it's very, very important to address the issue. It is the next big epidemic. I cannot stress on that enough. And I think it trickles down. In fact, I want to make it sort of mandatory in my very small organization as well. I'm an organization of maybe 4 or 5 people, but I want to make it mandatory in my own organization now, where I want everyone to reach out to a counselor or a psychiatrist. I think that's very, very important. I think also the fact that for people to understand, for people in the position of power to understand that people with mental illnesses should not be treated differently. I think there is a lot of stigma also, because if most people went to their boss and said, I need some time off, or I'm experiencing depression, they're more likely to lose their job. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think empathy in a situation like this, I think knowing that, I'm going to say we, are equally capable. I went about doing my work the way I would in any other phase of my life, you know, completing my commitments, doing everything that I did, in spite of having this monkey sitting on my shoulders. So I think it's very, very important for people like us to not be treated differently, to know that we're equally capable. I think it needs people in the place of power to look at their employees with a little more empathy, and to know that our place of work, we can only be successful if